everybody, and welcome to Alec Stadium. My name is Zach Ewing with Koki Riley here for a live edition, on location edition of the LSU Sports Insider pregame show. LSU and Little Rock will play at some point today. Koki, first pitch was going to be 2 o'clock. It's not going to be 2 o'clock anymore. I don't know. It's LSU baseball in the postseason. So what would it be without a rain delay?
Exactly. We were just before we went on air, we were joking about how they could rename the LSU Tigers the LSU weather delay because Alex Stadium has become the home of the weather delay so far this season.
The rainless rain delay, by the way. It's not actually raining, but they have located lightning in the area. That's an automatic if there's lightning within
8 mile radius of the stadium.
Automatic 30-minute delay. It's about 1:30 as we're speaking right now, so technically if the lightning just stopped, they could start pretty close to on time. That's not going to happen if you look at the radar. Like, there will be some more severe weather rolling through.
And rain.
Yeah, I think we could be looking at a couple of hours.
I agree. Because even if the initial scan for the next hour or so looks okay, it looks like it's moving fast, there's more coming after that. So that's the part that makes you nervous if you want this game to be played soon. And I think everyone here wants this game to be played soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's people sitting here, got their families here, took off work to be here. They want to see some baseball. And I think we will get this game in today. I do wonder the late game today between the other two teams at the Baton Rouge Regional, that's Dallas Baptist and Rhode Island. That one could be in question if this one gets delayed far enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if there's a rule or not to how late you can start a game, but it's gonna be tough to get both these games in today. I think we'll get one in, just based on chance, and just based on how long of leash they have here to just get this first one into the second game. I think is a real jeopardy.
And of course, if that happens, then that could affect tomorrow's schedule. Right now, if LSU beats Little Rock, they would play 5 o'clock tomorrow. That could get pushed back, or even into Sunday if necessary. If we keep continuing to have bad weather, I made the mistake of saying on our show yesterday there was no weather in the forecast. My bad.
Rookie error.
My bad.
I hate to say it. That's a freshman mistake.
Yeah, I'm too old. I've been around for too long to be doing that.
I mean, you're not the only one. Like, I was talking to Reed earlier today. Reed, our women's basketball reporter, obviously. He's coming to help us out, help out with our coverage this weekend. And he's like, oh, well, at least the weather looks great for this weekend. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Big ... after that because
famous last words.
You cannot say that.
I will say
the opposite's going to happen.
It is not like swelteringly hot out here like it is sometimes for postseason baseball. It's warm, it's humid, but it's not like crazy. But obviously the lightning and the thunderstorms rolling through is not ideal. So digging into the game itself, we talked about this a little bit. And first, we should mention that our LSU baseball podcast coverage is brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake Health. They are the championship healthcare provider for LSU athletics. As we dig into this one, Koki, we talked about this yesterday all week. Little Rock is maybe the weakest team in the NCAA field. That's kind of a hard, depends on what metric you use. They do have the lowest RPI, number 243 in the RPI. They're 24-32. They were 20-32 before they won 4 straight games at the Ohio Valley Conference Tournament last week, which is why they're here. So they're hot, but again, this is a team that you'd expect to see rolling into the box on like a Wednesday night during the regular season. A team LSU should certainly beat, especially with its weekend pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. LSU is the deeper, more talented team on both sides of the ball, and they should be able to win this game pretty easily, you think, at least. I know LSU's offensive troubles gives some people some pause about that, but in midweek games, their offense has been more than fine. It's an elite against teams like this. So I have no reason to believe that they're not going to win this game pretty easily. We just have to get the game started.
Yeah, the weather is going to be LSU's biggest problem now rather than the Little Rock Trojans. Little Rock does swing it a little bit if you look. I think they've had 19 games this year where they've scored 8 or more runs. Like, they can hit, obviously not always facing the caliber of pitching of the Kate Anderson who they'll be facing today. But they've also given up 8 or more runs 25 times, so nearly half their games. And if you look at LSU's offense, which has been struggling a little bit, it's an opportunity for them to really do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Big opportunity for the Bats to get going, like you said. Little Rock has already announced their starter for today. Jackson Wells is a right-hander. Had a really good outing this last outing. So he's he's pitching well at the right time, it seems like. So he's not their ace. They're saving him for tomorrow because he had to pitch twice in 5 days last week for them to even get here. So, I think this is a really good opportunity for LSU offense to really shine through in a game like this.
And the way the Tigers bat, you talk about a guy who pitched twice in 5 days last week. He's had some time off now, obviously, but they're a team that can ratchet that pitch count up pretty high early in a game. You can get him out of there, get to the kind of the underbelly of the Little Rock bullpen and really get some separation in this game. You mentioned Little Rock is named as starting pitcher. I was assuming LSU was throwing Kate Anderson. That may not necessarily be the case.
Yeah, because Anthony Einson threw on Friday last week, and one of the reasons why Jay Johnson did that was so they can have the flexibility, the optionality to throw whoever they want today. So, we'll see how it works out. And both those guys are a little bit rested now because they can throw as many pitches as they usually do, especially in Einson's case. Einson threw 39 pitches. He really didn't throw that much at all last week. So I think, they should be well rested. They should be able to throw whoever they want in this game. And combine that with the fact that you're going up against the level of pitching staff that you've been kind of dominating in these midweek games, as we've said. And it's just a recipe for an easy LSU win. That's what it should be, at least. And I will say it's fair to mention that, yes, Little Rock's on fire, but they also beat Ole Miss earlier in the season, so it's not impossible, right?
Oh, nothing is impossible in baseball or in sports. LSU could lose this game. It's not impossible. And it's also not impossible that they would win this game and then be in trouble tomorrow against DBU or Rhode Island. It can happen even with your top pitching. Obviously, you go 2-0. You get to Sunday, you just need to win 1 out of 2 at that point. Pretty good shape. And so that's the goal for LSU. Goal number 1, though, is getting out of the field. You can see the tarp behind us as we're live here from Algebrock Stadium up the first baseline. Koki, you blame me for the jinx. I wasn't the one who wrote about rain delays in the Advocate this morning, which you can go read at theadvocate.com/LSU. But I guess it was appropriate.
It's timely, though.
It was timely. It was also a terrible jinx. How dare you? But here we are. You know more about rain delays at LSU games than anybody, so tell us what you know.
Yeah, so Matthew Montgomery, who's the general manager here at the box, he's the man who's kind of in charge of communicating with the SEC office, or in this case, the NCAA, to sort of figure out how they're going to navigate this weather delay, when they're going to, when delay like they have now for this game, when they're going to restart the game, how they're going to restart the game, all those sort of logistical things is kind of what the story is. I don't want to get it, I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but that's sort of the idea of the story. And since LSU's been through so many rain delays this season, it just felt timely and it felt like something we had to do at some point, right?
Yeah.
It's become a theme this season. It's become a real theme this year. Even if it is a bummer. So
one detail you mentioned to me that's not in your story, but you should go read the story, theadvocate.com/LSU. There is a fan, and I don't think it's going to be in the camera. It's like one of those little, no, it's not battery
leaf
powered.
blowers.
One of those little leaf blower type fans over there blowing under the tarp. And you explained to me why they do that.
Yeah, it's so the tarp doesn't stick onto the grass for too long and kind of dirties kills the grass, right? So you want to give the grass some room to breathe, especially if the tarp's going to be on for a long period of time. So now since they have those things out there, it's a clue, at least for me, and it should be for you guys, that we might be waiting for a while for this game to start, because again, if you're going to have that on there, it means that it's going to be on there for a while.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that in such a positive manner and keep us all positive about this. Look, the game will be played when it is played. It's Baton Rouge. It's springtime. This is what happens late springtime. We're going to have rain. We're going to have thunderstorms. You all know that. And so we've got a couple this afternoon. And we'll play when we play. The good news is, though, what you don't want, especially if you're Jay Johnson and LSU, is to play 2 innings then have a delay for a couple of hours, and then you have to mess with your pitching, and you lose Kate Anderson or Anthony Einson for the day.
Yeah, that can't happen, and they're not going to let that happen, because in 2020, and we have previous examples of this. Where in 2023, the Super Regional, that game 1, they didn't play that game for 5 or 6 hours until 5 or 6 hours after it was scheduled to start, because they did not want Paul to start throwing and having Paul Skeens. They didn't want to have him start throwing and then have to stop in the 3rd or 4th inning. They wanted that 3-hour window to at least get the starters in. And, they're definitely they're going to do everything in their power for that to happen today.
Absolutely. So we will play when we play. We'll live coverage at theadvocate.com/LSU. Koki stories, Reed stories, Scott Ravellet. And then when the game ends 30 minutes after, we'll have a post-game show here for you on the LSU Tigers at NOLA.com YouTube channel. Search it up, subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications, and hit the like button. Before we go, Koki, one kind of off-the-wall prediction. I think we're both picking LSU to win this.
Yeah.
Give me an off-the-wall prediction. Somebody hit a home run, some statistical anomaly. If you want to pick, I'll give you a Daniel Dickinson home run today.
Okay.
That's my pick.
Interesting. I think Jake Brown's going to have a good day, and he's been really good against right-handed pitching this season, and my guess is he'll start because of that. And I feel pretty good about Jake Brown today.
All right, Jake Brown, pick the click. I'm going Daniel Dickinson. You've got the LSU Insider. We'll be back with a post-game show whenever this thing is over. We won't know that until we know when it starts. But until then, he's Koki Riley. I'm Zach Ewing. Thank you all for watching the LSU